everyone, how are you guys? My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy, and I'm here live today on the Redesign with Prima page. So I am a member of the Redesign with Prima brand ambassador team. I'm also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint. And so I want to show you guys a project that I'm going to work on with you guys today. It's a pretty cute little project. I find that I do furniture a lot, and so sometimes I forget to just come back and make cute little projects. So I'm going to make something today that I think will be cute for staging or home decor or storage or anything that I want to use it for. So I have these little wooden crates, and these are, you can find these pretty easily if you go on Facebook Marketplace, at least in my area, but I'm in California. And sometimes they're old wine storage boxes. The old wine boxes work great, but I'm going to make them look like faux vintage fruit crates today. That's what I'm going to turn these little wood boxes into. So this was already painted when I got it, and it's not a very, the paint finish is not great. So let me show you guys. Do you guys see all this yellowing on here? It was painted just on the raw wood, and they didn't use a primer, wherever it came from. So it's bleeding through. The wood is bleeding through, but that's okay because I'm going to repaint this and make it cute again. And I'm going to give it a really vintage look. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and I cleaned my box really well. I'm going to paint right over this existing painted finish. And I'm going to use, let me put my camera up a little tiny bit. I couldn't find a mix where I could show my workstation and not cut my head off. So you guys don't really need to see my head. I'm in the tiniest corner of my workspace, you guys, because my workspace is so packed. I have 16 pieces waiting to be shipped out, and so I have this little corner to work in right now. So I'm going to use Dixie Belle Paint and Caviar, and Caviar is their pure black. So I cleaned this really well, and I'm just going to take, this is my flat medium brush by Dixie Belle, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to just paint this little wooden box. I come over here. So this is a pretty easy step, but I thought it would be cool to show you guys from the beginning. It will take me 2 coats of the Caviar to cover up my white paint. If I was painting on wood, I may be able to get it done in 1 coat, but over this white, and the white does have a clear coat on it. And that clear coat just makes the paint glide a little easier, whereas sometimes if you're painting on raw wood, you can get better coverage in 1 coat. And then because I'm using Caviar, I'm not worried about bleed through on this one. Plus it's going to be a decor item that if the black were to discolor, I wouldn't be horribly worried about it. So that's my coverage with 1 coat. So when I'm painting, I just make sure that my strokes are all even, nice light brush strokes going in one direction. Dixie Belle's a self-leveling paint, so if I give it a reasonably good start, it will level out those brush strokes pretty well. So that's 1 coat, and I'm just going to go around and go ahead and paint my whole box, and then we'll go on to the next one. So like I said, I want to make these look like vintage fruit crates. We have a lot of orchards and things in California, and so I see all the time these cute fruit crates, but they want a fortune for them. So I'm going to make my own, making sure that I get up underneath this little lip. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to use this white that's underneath my paint. Whenever I have a piece that's already been painted, I try to use that to my advantage, and I will use it for a layered look. So when I distress this black back, it's going to show that white underneath. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this was already painted. And I do that with furniture too. If I pick up a furniture piece that's already painted, I will find a way to make a finish that's got a layered look on it so that that base coat of paint ends up being an advantage to me. I'm going to paint these all inside my box everywhere. And I did not sand these beforehand. And the reason is because I want a distressed look. I want this paint finish underneath is not very smooth, and I'm going to use all those little lumps and bumps and things. That's where my white is going to show through on my final product. In a second, I'll show you the transfer that we're going to put on these guys. This you can do a project like this with decoupage if you want to use the Redesign decoupage papers, whatever design you'd want to put on. And then these crates are the perfect size. I could use them in my house for storing papers. I can use them in photos, for staging items. They could be cute little gifts. You could make gift baskets out of them. And like I said, I can pick up these wooden boxes. They're wine boxes, right? Am I the only one? Do other people have wine boxes for sale in their area? Or is that, I know it's because I'm in California. We have wine country here. It's not far from where I am. It's about 2 hours away. So the wine boxes are pretty readily available. And that's what I think this would be perfect on. Or maybe you're just a wine drinker who orders a lot of wine. And then good for you. All right. Hey, Llewellyn, how are you guys? I just wanted to make sure I could see my comments. So this is also a good project to start on. If you've never done a transfer before, or you're just starting out painting, I recommend, why am I not using a water bottle? That's a great question. Hang on and I'll answer that. But I recommend starting out on a smaller project first. Start with something smaller. Get a feel for how your paint lays on, how it's going to cover, how to get a smooth finish. You can also practice your clear coats. We're going to do a transfer so you can practice transfers. But doing smaller projects like this is a great way to get a feel for how these products work before you go in and start repainting your bedroom set. Oh, thank you for the compliment on my hair color. That was really nice, Sandy. I haven't had my hair done in a long time. This is my quarantine hair, so thank you. I get highlights to cover up my my natural highlights, if you know what I mean. My hair is starting to gray a little bit under there somewhere. So why am I not using water? That's a great question. This is my first coat. So I tend to use water more on my second coat with Dixie Belle, and that's because when you're painting the paint over itself, chalk paint dries, chalky style paints dry with that matte chalky finish on it. And so your brush will want to stick to itself. It doesn't glide as easily. This particular coat I'm putting over an existing painted surface, and this already has a clear coat on it. So my brush is gliding really well. My paint is gliding really well. I just have one more side over here, and then I'll have a coat on this, and we'll go on to my next one, which I've already painted for you guys. You're welcome. Hey, Cece, how you doing? Are you taking a break? You guys, Cece works constantly. Cece's with Cece Restyle. She's also a member of the Redesign Brand Ambassador team and our Dixie Belle Brand Ambassador team. But Cece is a hard-working gal, so show her some love. All right, and then my last side already has some decoupage on it, and it's just a little bit country, living the dream. Yep, aren't we all? If I had a wine box for all the wine I brought, you could build a house with them. That's very resourceful. Yeah, great. If you're ordering so much wine during your quarantine that you can build a house with them, good for you. You know, that's kind of funny because it reminds me of a conversation. Yesterday I had to drive to the San Francisco Bay Area with my kids. It was 5 hours round trip with my kids in the car. I love them. Hey, Joe. Yeah, I love watching Cece too. She's got so much personality. And we passed a truck. So you see how I'm just gliding my brush strokes all in a nice flat direction. And I can lay my paint on however I want. I can be as messy as I want laying the paint on. See how I messed it all up? But as long as you come back and you clean up those brush strokes when you're done, and Dixie Belle has a nice long open life, so I can keep brushing that paint. There, I'm trying to get the glare off my brush strokes. But do you see how I've got a messy up here? And then as long as I come back and I even those strokes out, so you can lay your paint on however you want. Now this, I do want to paint the bottom of this box, but I obviously need to wait till another side of it dries so that I can set it on that. You did a 4-hour round trip yesterday? Yeah, it was, I mean, my kids were really good. I totally felt for them. But we passed this truck on the road that had old cars on it, and they were, you know how they smash old cars, and they were asking me like, what do you do with old cars? And it really made me think like, oh my gosh, like this is just one truck of old cars. Where do they all go? And then we started talking about like, you know, what you could use them for, but building and what do you do with, I mean, there's got to be so many old cars out there just smashed down, sitting around. So this is the vintage seed transfer. It's got gorgeous colors, you guys. This would be really pretty on the front of a cute little dresser or something. Here, I've got one sitting right here. Let me show you on the drawers of this. You guys can see. Wipe your comments away and you'll be able to see this. But it's the perfect size. Like this, actually this is the perfect size. If this wasn't a custom order, maybe they'd let me put seed packets on the front. But it's got great colors in it. This is a 3-piece transfer. It's super cute. In fact, Redesign with Prima posted on their Instagram page today, these used on glass canisters on the counter. Like, look at the colors in this one here. The color of the pears is gorgeous. I love that. It's so fresh with the greens. That's a really cute one. I might use that one because I like it so much. So that's the second piece, and then this is the third piece. Actually, it has some bigger pieces. So you can either cut this apart into its smaller parts, or you can take and use this across the front of a piece as a whole. So I have another one of my wooden crates here. Same crate, only this one has 2 coats of Dixie Belle caviar on it. So I've got full coverage on there. That's just a little, let me pull that off. Something got stuck in my paint. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut apart my vintage seed transfer. And the one that I really wanted, the one that kind of inspired me, was this one here. I love the black background with these fresh colors against it. That was kind of what inspired me. So I'm going to cut that one out. And I'm going to put it here on the front of my box. Now it's a little bit larger, so I'm going to wrap it around and cut it a little bit. So let me get my scissors and let's cut this one out. And I'm going to do, each of these is going to get 2 transfers, one on each side. And then I'll have 4 sides that are all really different. And I like this one too. This orange blossom. I don't know, I can't decide now which one I want to do. But I know I want to start with this black one because that was kind of what really inspired like the look that I was going for. So I know I want to start with this one. So I'm going to set aside this. I cut out that piece. And then on the next sheet of this transfer, the bottom just carries over onto it. So we're going to talk a little bit today about number 1, putting a transfer onto black, getting rid of that halo around it. And then we're going to talk about seaming pieces of a transfer together too. I'll show you a couple tricks there. Okay, so let me put this aside. And I've got the 2 pieces of my transfer here. And I'm going to need to seam these together so that they fit. But that's what it's going to look like. So I'm going to start with the larger piece. And I need to get a rough idea for my spacing. How high up do I need to put this piece of my transfer? Now I'm looking at this and it's quite a bit larger than the front of my box here when I put these together. I may need to cut this bottom line of text off. And that's okay because I feel like it doesn't detract from the project that I'm working on. But I think I'm going to go ahead and cut that bottom line of text off. I may need to trim the top of it off too. But that's what's so nice about these is I can really make it whatever size I need it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this line of text off and eliminate that. I save all my transfer scraps because I will find a project at some point that I can use these all on. Now, you know what, you guys? Since I'm cutting this anyways, I'm going to cut it up a little bit higher. I'm going to cut off some of this black too, up to the bottom of my fruit. And the reason is because it's quite a bit larger. So I can really eliminate that and have it be appropriately sized for my little box here. Okay, so that's what I've got. And then I might go ahead and start on the bottom here. And then work my way up, just so I make sure when I get to the top that it fits. So what I like to do when I'm piecing a transfer together, like I need to piece these two. Let me try to get you guys a good shot of this on camera. It has a little halo around it. So this is the transfer. How can I make you guys see it on camera? It's got a little halo around behind that black. And I'm gonna cut that off. So I'm actually gonna cut off this clear and I'm gonna come right up to the printed portion and then I'm gonna snip like a fingernail's length of that printed portion. And what that does, you guys, is when I'm seaming a transfer together, it's gonna get rid of the halo that's around it so that when I transfer, or when I seam these together, they can butt right straight up against each other. Now by cutting off the like fingernail's length of print, let me show you guys what I cut off. You can barely even tell that I cut the print. But by cutting that off, how do I explain this? Sometimes the coloring on the very, very, very edge of the transfer is a little more concentrated, like how the printer works. And so by cutting that off, when I seam them up against each other, you're not gonna see that very edge of the printing. So I cut off a little tiny edge of it. And then I'm gonna remove my transfer from its backing. I did not sand this. This is just my raw paint. And then I'm going to center this across the bottom of my wooden box, running flush with the bottom of this box here, all the way down to the very bottom edge. Making sure I'm as centered as I can be. Okay, I like that. And then once I like my placement, I run my finger across it. And that just gets it to sit, and it's semi-stuck in place, but just enough for me to be able to rub it on. I'm using the transfer tool that comes in the box with the Redesign transfer. And I'm just gonna rub on this little tiny piece of my transfer. So I need to set my box up here just so I can press down on it a little bit more. Okay, it has a little tiny edge on the edge here, and so I'm just gonna ride that with my transfer tool. And what that does, it will pop up the edge of this clear paper just by kind of forcing it to wrap that edge a little bit, and it popped up that bottom. Now I can get this flat part, and I'm gonna start peeling over here where I've got this edge of clear paper. Hey, Ava. And then I can pull this right off. And I go pretty slow because I want to make sure that I did get that rubbed as well as I think I did. And then I'm just going to press it down with my fingers. And I'm going to come back and burnish this a little bit more after the fact, but that's what I've got so far. How cute is that? Cute. Okay, so I'm going to put, this is my scrap that I cut off. I'm going to put that aside. And then this is the top portion. I'm going to do the same part on this as I did on the bottom. I'm going to cut, remember I'm seaming this transfer together. So I'm going to cut off this bottom, and I'm going to cut off like, I don't even want to say a fingernail because it's not even a fingernail. It's like if you have really thin fingernails. But I'm going to cut off that halo portion, and I'm cutting the tiniest, tiniest bit of the actual print off my transfer, because I want to butt these up against each other without having those halos overlap. Does that make sense? So I cut that clear part off right up to the edge of the transfer. And now, same thing, I'm going to pull this off of my backing. It's got the white backing. And now this is adhesive. Whatever I stick it on, it's going to stick to, including itself. So be careful how you set these down. And then let me tip my box towards me so I can place this right. I want to match it up to the print that's underneath it. And this has kind of plants growing on the side, so I'm looking at that vine, making sure those lines are perfectly in line with each other. Make sure you take time in doing this, because this is where it will really make it look like one seamless piece if it's lined up correctly. I like that side. Now let me get the other side. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, sorry guys for the moment of concentration. I promise you it does take some concentration to match those up, because I'm trying to make sure the fruit matches. I'm trying to make sure these little vines match on both sides, that the trim pieces over here match. So I take some time. Now I haven't rubbed this on yet, but can you guys see how when I butted those up against each other, I don't have that overlapping halo around the edge anymore? By cutting that perfectly straight line and cutting off the halo when you have to match your transfers up, it really, really seams them together perfectly. And now I'm going to come back and I'm going to rub this larger piece on. And I'm right up to the edge of this right here. I might even trim this with a razor blade just so I'm perfectly at the top, because it does go over the top of my box a little bit. Can you hear it's getting the little air bubbles in between my transfer and the backing? And that's a good thing. Those little air bubbles are my friend. I am going to get a razor blade, you guys, and I'm going to trim this. Number one, because you'll look at this box and it has 45-degree angles on here, and my transfer is a square, so I need to cut the 45-degree angles. Oh, Kathy, you know what's funny is I've done a few hundred pieces by now, and you figure out along the way, with each one, there's a little tiny lesson that you learn with whatever product it is. And you pick these things up. And so, you know, I don't have it all down by any means at this point, but this is a few hundred pieces of furniture in that you start picking up this stuff, what little things works. Let me get my razor blade really quick, you guys. I'll get my X-Acto knife. That's a little bit safer. So another story, I have cuts all over my hands right now from tiling, and I had to put on hand sanitizer yesterday because, right, coronavirus, you should use your hand sanitizer. Do you know how bad that hurts? Here's another little lesson. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut. This is still attached to the clear backing because the transfer is so much easier to cut when it's still on its backing sheet. Now I could wrap these, but I think it'll look better if I just trim it. So this scrap, I'm not going to keep this. So that's a little tiny scrap off that side. Now I'm going to ride the edge of my little crate here, because this piece is super tiny that I'm going to cut off. This is why I do it while it's still on the backing. And then I can get this little 45-degree angle over here. There. And now I'll have a nice clean edge up here, and I cut my little 45-degree angles. If you do it while it's still on the backing, it's a million times easier than trying to cut that transfer when that backing sheet is off of it. So now I'm going to find a good place. Same thing with all these corners. If I just rub at the corner and force that backing sheet to wrap it, see how it pops it up? And now I can pull this off. Same thing up here. It's a straight line, but if you force that backing sheet to curve a little bit, and as I'm peeling it, I'm looking for areas where my transfer might want to pull a little bit. So I'll rub it at the same time. And I'm going really slow. Making sure I don't peel off any areas of my transfer. Ta-da! And then there's that last 45-degree angle, and my little top that I trimmed off are still attached on there. Yeah, just cutting off that little halo and the very, very, very thin edge of the print. I mean, I can't even express to you guys enough how thin you don't want to cut into that print, because then it's not going to line up with the next piece. It's just getting that little edge where the print might be a little more concentrated. So cute. Okay, and now this is kind of a flat sheet of transfer. There are some transfers where it's a lot of little tiny detail, little tiny text print and stuff like that. These larger sheet ones have a bigger tendency to get air bubbles underneath them. And air bubbles will be your nemesis. So I can hear there's an air bubble. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear it. Oh, did I already get it out? Okay, that little popping sound is air bubbles under your transfer. If your clear coat gets under your transfer, that can start causing lifting. So you want to make sure you get them all out. And let me show you guys what I use to get my air bubbles out of my transfer. So this is called Burnishing, and I use a finishing pad from Dixie Belle. It's a very light abrasive pad. It's not enough to take the print off the top of my transfer, but it's just enough that I can go across the top of my transfer and it presses down all these areas so that I don't have any air bubbles in between my piece. It's going to be perfectly married to my piece. And then I can see this in the light, and I can see if I look across the front of it, there's no air bubbles in it. So catch it in different light and you'll be able to see if there's little raised areas. But can you guys see my seam? I know you can find it because you know where it is. But if you really look at it, you have to really look to find it. It's right down here. And this is black. So if I had that clear halo, you would see that clear halo all the way across. Instead, you've got to really hunt to find where I seamed these two together across the bottom. Oh, Lorraine, my pool. You want to hear a story about my pool? So this is cute. I want to do one on the other side too. The only thing I wish I would have done in hindsight, I wish I would have cut this white edge off. I think that would look better because I've got a black background. Again, it doesn't really matter because it's just a little decorative fruit box. But cutting it apart, I wish I would have cut off this white edge. It's very hard to get the seam nice. So let's go ahead and find another one. And I think the next one that I was eyeballing had a seam on it too. Oh, it does, because it was this one right here. It's the same size. Yeah, I like this one. So it's a little more narrow than my box. I don't like that. So let me try to find one that kind of matches up the dimensions on my box. If it's too small, that's okay. Number one, I could either put two pieces across it. It doesn't have to be perfect. These are just meant to be cute little, because I like this one too. But this one doesn't require a seam. So I like this one too. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, I think. It's smaller than my box, so I could either do two across it if I wanted to fill the whole side, but I think I'm just going to use the one piece. So I'm going to cut this out, remembering this time that I don't want that little white edge. It's a piece of the transfer because this is all one sheet. So that little white edge is actually a piece of the transfer. So I cut this one out, so I'll save that. Oh, my pool story. It's not good. So you guys, we are installing a pool. We built our home over the last year and we're putting our pool in right now. So we have this beautiful glass pool tile put in. And then we used epoxy grout that you're supposed to use on pools. And we went out, well, my husband went out over the weekend and looked at the tile, and it had started like a white haze along the grout lines all around the pool. Yeah, we're getting rain, Katie. We are. We're getting rain for the next few days. So it started developing a white haze. So we called the place we got it from, and they called the manufacturer, and they determined that it was a flaw in the manufacturing. So they refunded our money, and we tore out all of our pool tile because we're supposed to have plaster put in on Friday. It's been fun. I told you it was a good story, right? So this one's a little bit smaller than my box, but I still think it's really cute. It's just gonna have the black edge on either side, and I need to make sure that it's centered on my box here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off the backing, and I discard that. Now this is my sticky part. So I'm gonna center this as perfectly as I can onto my box. Oh my gosh, how cool is this? Wait, you guys, I need to show you. So I live just outside the Sacramento area, Rio Vista, Sacramento River, California. It's on the transfer. How cute is that? So then I'm going to press it down because I feel like I'm pretty centered on my box. This one does not wrap. It matches up perfectly with the bottom. Now it's still not attached. I've just pressed it down. Until I rub it with that stick, it's enough to hold it in place. But for the most part, I could peel that back if I wanted to. And then it lines up pretty well with my top, so I don't really even need to cut that one or seam it or anything. I love that it says Sacramento. This would be cute. I could come in on the sides and I could paint the sides in a red to match this. This is kind of honky-tonk red, maybe with a little bit of orange added, and I could paint the sides to match so that it looks like one seamless piece with my box. I actually like that idea. I might do that. So you guys hear me thinking as I'm going, and that's not because I'm coming into this project having no clue what I'm doing. It's because sometimes you have to make decisions on the fly as you go. Yeah, we got a refund. We didn't have time to be upset about it. You know, when stuff like that happens, we just knew we had to take care of it. We could have sat back and got mad at everybody, and but we just knew we had to take care of it. So we just went to work getting the refund. Them telling us they would refund it, because truthfully they haven't even done it yet. It was just, okay, you'll do it, cool, we're gonna tear it out. And we tore all the tile out and we picked a new one. Then I had to drive 5 hours yesterday because we didn't have enough locally. Yeah, you could put the transfer on the slats, and all I would do, let me try to explain this because I don't actually want to put one on, although this little cutout that I did would be perfect right there, huh? All I would do is I would take the piece and I would slice the clear backing while the transfer is still attached to get it to the perfect size here. So don't detach it and then try to cut it afterwards. Slice it while it's still attached to its clear backing, and then you can razor blade through it like it's super easy. So same thing, I'm gonna use my transfer tool to force this backing to wrap that edge, and then it pops. It pops my clear paper off. Now I don't want to start peeling yet because I haven't rubbed this enough. I'm going to come back and I'm going to paint this in to match so it looks like my transfer never ended. I'm just going to paint the red right up to the sides so it looks like it's filling the whole side like I did on this side. So another thing, I told you guys I didn't care for this white line here that I didn't cut off. I can come back and paint that black too. You can paint over the top of your transfers. And that's another way, if you have a piece and you didn't cut the seam, the halo off the seam, you can come back and paint over the seam using your chalk paint and use paint to camouflage a seam too. Depending on how bad they are, sometimes I'll do either a combination of cutting it, I'll do one or the other or both. So now I'm going to peel this back, paying attention when it's peeling to areas. So I go slow. It can still rip. I love that this says Sacramento on it. I think that's so cute. Okay, and this is one of those big sheets, so I'm just going to press it down with my fingers. Do I hear a bubble? Hang on. You guys hear that? That was an air bubble under my transfer. So even when I think I've rubbed it all out with my fingers, I'm still going to take my finishing pad and rub over the top of it. So you can imagine when you've got transfers that have all those little pieces, I'll do more than paint it red, paint in my own pairs. No, I'm not that ambitious right now. I'm going to turn my camera around so you guys can see what I'm living in. This, all this furniture behind me is a shipment. I can't even move out here right now. No, I'm just going to paint the sides red because I actually really like the black box. But I'm going to show you guys more on camera too, what I'm going to do to this finish. We'll just do it on the other side since I want to paint these sides. So now I want to distress all these edges. Remember I have that white paint underneath here? I want to make it show through along the sides because this is a vintage fruit crate, right? It's vintage. So I'm going to take, these are the Surf Prep abrasive foam pads. They're sanding pads. And Dixie Belle carries these now. And they come in a box like this. You can get a mixed box like this. And I'm going to choose the coarsest one, which in this box is the gray, because I want to cut through my paint. And I'm just going to cut off a little part of this. Probably, what's that, a third? And then I'm going to save this in my box because that's still brand new. And I only need that little piece of it. Now this is a medium abrasive, so it's fairly coarse. And I love that these are flexible, so I can take this. And I've got solid black paint, but I have white underneath it. And I'm going to rub it through to show some of that white under my paint. So at the same time, this is making my paint nice and smooth. I've got nails right here. It's going to make around the nails look white. It's going to make the edges look white. It's also making my paint super smooth. So I'm going to clear coat this. Now when you're sanding black paint, it does make this gray haze on it. But when you clear coat over the top, you wipe the dust off and then clear coat over the top and that will go away. It will be black again. And I'll show you guys this up close so you can see what I'm taking off. So my paint wasn't super even, so I've got little white dots in there. I've got the nails on the sides and then this white lip around the edge. I'm gonna do this one down here. You can do this with a power sander, but you really get more control. I can pay attention to little areas that I want. It had wood grain in it, so it's showing a little more white there. And then I'll put a little bit of clear coat on over this so that you guys can see how it makes it black again. And I can take it back as much or as little as I want. I like that, just a little bit of the white showing through. When I'm done, I will photograph these and I will use a little bit of fruit, you know, some cute fruit, some oranges popping out of the box. I don't think I have that many pears. Oh, I think I do have some fake pears that I'll stage this with, and it will look like a cute little fruit crate. So I'm going to come over here and I can distress over a transfer too. So I know I want to do the edges for sure. I'm going to rub those back to the white. I'm going to get this bottom edge. So I actually like how vibrant this color is, but you can come over the top and if you rub your sandpaper over it, it just takes the color down a little bit. It took the sheen off of my transfer a little bit, and I can distress it as much or as little as I want. If however old I want this label to look, I have control over that. And then I like that this little sanding sponge, I can wrap edges like this, see, like that, and I can just get the corner distressed. I don't want to distress the whole thing, just the corner. I told you guys in the beginning, these were painted white, and I'm using that to my advantage. I'm letting that white paint show through underneath my transfer. All right, this transfer we've done on camera. So you guys saw that I put my paint on, I put my transfer on. I don't need to wait at all. I can clear coat right over this. So let's throw some clear coat on this. I burnished it, it's well attached. I've done my distressing around it as I want to. I can clear coat the top of this now. No need to wait. So I'm going to come in here and get, because I want to be able to clear coat this edge. See how I'm letting my white show through all the way around? Put straw. Oh, that's a good idea before I add the fruit. That would be cute, huh? Because that is really how they pack the fruit too. They put something underneath it. I have some like brown butcher paper too. That would be cute. Like a fruit crate, like a, oh, how to explain it? They put that in like banana boxes. So that's really cute. I'm not going to do this side yet. I'm not going to clear coat this because remember I want to paint the sides of this to be that matching orange color. So I'm not going to clear coat the side of this one yet. We'll just do the other side. Sanding all my edges. Just letting that white peek through. So I got that sanding dust on the side. We're going to call this cleaning the dust off, and I'm going to clear coat this so you can see how it brings it back to true black. Now you don't have to clear coat this. This would be cute with wax. You can wax over transfers too. So wax is a very, very aged look. That would be adorable. I'm going to use flat clear coat on this, I think. Let me grab that off my shelf and we will throw that on. Hang on, guys, I'm coming right back. I need to grab a brush. Kind of want a smaller size brush. But I don't have those on the top of my drawer, and I'm not going to dig for one, so I'll use, I'm just going to throw my clear coat on with my oval medium. Just tune in. Where are the transfers from? So the transfer that I'm using is from Redesign with Prima. I put a link above in the post, and it's a vintage seed transfer. So the link that I put above in the post is a link where you can get all Redesign products, their molds and their transfers. These are one of the newest releases. If you click sort by newest, and it's going to pop these right up to the top because they're the newest. Yeah, you can paint, I could paint white on the edge after the clear coat. All the products I'm using are water-based from Orange County. Here, you need some of these. These are Orange County fruits. Do you have any oranges? But this is the vintage seed transfer, and I'm using it to make this wooden crate look like a vintage fruit crate. So I'm going to use Dixie Belle flat clear coat, and I'm choosing flat because this is supposed to look vintage. I shouldn't be shaking it, I should be stirring it. And you wouldn't want a sheen on something that's supposed to look vintage, right? So I'm going to use flat because it will, flat is also great on black because it doesn't have any sheen. So it doesn't pick up. A lot of you guys struggle with streakiness in your clear coat, and a lot of that is sheen. It's how the light catches the ridges in your clear coat, and it shows that you've got streakiness in it. If you use flat, it doesn't have any sheen for the light to catch. That's not saying it can't still be streaky, because it can if you don't get it on right. But at least that flat sheen is going to help. I am going to stir my clear coat. You should not shake clear coat. It gets bubbles in it. So I'm going to use this little spatula and I'm just going to stir it. Especially flat, because what makes the clear coat flat is it's got little particles in it, little mattifying particles. And they tend to settle at the bottom. So I'm pulling it. It's not a really aggressive stirring so much as I'm pulling it from the bottom and pulling those up to the top. You could stay home and watch YouTube videos all day. Yeah, that's the benefit of quarantine, is we just get to watch painting videos all day. You'll be a great painter at the end of this, right? So I'm just lightly stirring that. It's pretty well mixed. Oh, let me show you guys what's on my spoon. Can you guys see that? That's the stuff that gets stuck at the bottom. That's what I was pulling up. I'm actually going to stir it a little more because I've seen that. I'm digging into the corners of my container even to pull it out of there. If those are uneven, yep, there it was. See that? That needs to be mixed into my clear coat. If those aren't mixed in, it's not going to have a consistently flat finish. I just dripped some on my painted box. You ordered the baby brush earrings. Aren't they super cute? I have them sitting right here, actually. They're super cute. I haven't worn earrings in a long time since I had kids. All right, I feel pretty good about that stirring. If that didn't get it, then I don't know what can. So I was digging up from the bottom of my container, and now I'm just scraping it off so it doesn't drip. Throw that aside. Okay, and then we're gonna clear coat this. So I'm just gonna tip my brush in it. I don't need very much. I'm just getting these little wooden slats here. And I love that Dixie Belle clear coats go on and they look kind of blue when they go on. But you see how it brought that back to a black? It's gonna dry like that. So it's a little bit blue because I just brushed it on. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any drips around. I'm gonna get the edge of this here. Get that little edge. And then this one right below. Barely any clear coat. Just feathering across it. Got a little hair. The other thing that's nice about Dixie Belle Flat and Satin is they have a nice long open time. So I can give that a quick brush through and that will dry. It's wet right now, so I've got sheen to it, but you guys can see how sheen shows brush strokes. When it dries to a matte, that should not be a problem. But it still gives me protection. It's just not the same, it doesn't have the same wipeability as a sheen does, but that's okay because this should not be a project I need to wipe down. Okay, so that's the one side. Now let's go put this on top of my transfer. Now I sanded over the top of my transfer, which took the sheen of the transfer itself down. And then my flat clear coat is going to do a little bit of that too. So right over the top. Long, even brush strokes, and then I come back and I clean up any areas that might drip, like those edges right there. There, and now I've got clear coat over the top of my transfer. It's going to dry to a matte sheen, because this is flat clear coat. You get this top lip right here. So I brushed it on one direction, and now I can come back and clean those brush strokes up. I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to clear coat the rest of this box, but I'm going to go ahead and paint that other side with the red that I want to put up against the transfer. So that's it, you guys. That is start to finish how I'm going to make these vintage seed crates. And I will take still photos of this. Are you using an oval medium? Yes, my brush was an oval medium. Good eye. Good eye. Oval medium. Yeah, no particular reason other than it was on the top of my drawer. So this was just the brush I grabbed. It's not normally what brush I use. It just was on the top of my drawer. So it worked great for this. I probably, if I would have seen one on the top and had a choice, I would have grabbed probably a flat small because it's such a small box that I'm doing. So this is the box we painted in the beginning. It's pretty dry, but I can see some of my white underneath. See that in the brush stroke? So I'm going to put another coat on this because that's not the look that I want. I want good even coverage on this. See it over here in the corner? Got some spots. You can see in the crevices it's still a little wet. So I'm going to put a second coat on this. And then I'll get these staged and photos put out. But thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit just while I made a fun little project. So that again was the vintage seed transfer. It comes in 3 sheets. You get 3 sheets of all different size fruit labels. So I'm going to do my next box. I think I'm going to use this one here. And I don't know what other one. I really need the ones that have a horizontal orientation because the shape of my box is. So this one would be good too. That is going to be the perfect size for a side of my box. But some of these are vertical too. So you get those 3 sheets. I put a link above in the post. That's my affiliate link. So I get a small percentage of sales made through that link. So I always appreciate when you click my links to make a purchase. That's what pays me for making these videos. That's where you can find your redesign transfers and molds. You can also go to redesignwithprima.com and you can find a retailer there. So a lot of the redesign retailers are still open and doing business. Their shops are opening back up. So support your small businesses. See if there's a retailer in your area as well. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll be live Thursday on the Dixie Belle page at 9 p.m. Eastern. Go follow me at Brushed by Brandy. But you guys have a great week. Bye.